my late 20s I was working for Croydon Council as a policy officer. I was writing the sports strategy and the cultural strategy, but at the same time I started helping running a church-run youth club on an estate in Croydon. And over a couple of years I realised that the policy I was writing at the council was having very little effect on the young people I was working on the estate. And that really challenged me and challenged my thinking. So at 30 I took a radical decision, gave up my job, gave up my house and moved onto the estate full time. And we set up a number of community projects in the church. We set up lunch clubs, job clubs, kids clubs and youth clubs. And I really enjoyed that work and I would have continued doing it. But sadly in 2004, one of the kids I mentored got stabbed to death. And it was at that point that I realised that if I was going to change the situation for the young people that I was working with, I needed to get back up the policy ladder and needed to get into politics to find the solutions for the young people that I was dealing with and help people across the UK. So I got my disability at birth. I was an identical twin. The doctors and nurses didn't know we were going to be identical twins, so that was a bit of a surprise for my mum, particularly for my dad, who was worrying about how we would afford two when he was expecting one. And because they didn't know, there was a lack of oxygen at birth, which led to cerebral palsy, which affects my mobility today. But I say I don't let it affect my life that much. I think the riots highlighted some of the problems that I face with our young people today. A lot of the young people I work with have low levels of hope, low levels of ambition, a small worldview, and they saw on that night an opportunity to find a solution to their problem by going out and causing mayhem. But I think the results are beginning to come through. The 23 million from Boris is going to be a really big help, but I've worked hard to make sure that it's not just about capital money, but there is a pot set aside for business enhancement, for apprenticeships, for personal development, which I think is a key part of how we recover from the riots. But also at the same time, the great thing is West Croydon has begun to come together as one voice. Through the West Croydon Community Forum, we've got retailers, we've got the voluntary sector, we've got the public sector and the private sector representatives all working together, and that's going to be a strong legacy for the future. I think sometimes in policy, particularly recently, the answer has been we'll just throw money at the problem. Actually, I think some of the drivers are much more complex than that, and actually identifying the drivers of lack of aspiration, lack of hope, small worldview. These are some of the things you need to tackle, but you don't tackle it by throwing money, you tackle it by motivating and showing people a larger picture of the world. My faith is central to who I am and what I do. If I go back to the night when the kid that I was mentoring got stabbed to death, after 5 years on the estate, I was thinking, is it worth me being here? Am I being of any use? But it was my faith that gave me the strength to get through that period. And I think that's what I will carry through to being an MP. It's not just about pride or ego. It's about actually my faith is guiding me as I go through my life, and it's helping me in all the decisions I take. But I love the diversity of Croydon. I love the different cultures, the different ethnic origins. We need that reflected in our parliament. At the moment, our parliament is still too monocultured. We need more disabled people, we need more black people, we need people from different cultures, different abilities in there. And that is one of the reasons I'm standing for Parliament in Croydon North.